Hi ladies, welcome back to our channel. Let's talk all about meal planning. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you can get weekly updates on our videos. And if you are not new to our channel, welcome back. So there are two different meal plans that I have tried, and I like one over the other, but obviously they both have a lot of benefits to them. I think meal planning in general is just super helpful and it saves you a lot of time in the long run. So join me today as I show you the two different methods and you can meal plan with me our next month. Alrighty, so here's the first one. So I basically tackled it 1 week at a time, and this is what it looked like in the end. I will typically write in a different color, and so it's easy for me to just look at each day and see what I need to make. LO stands for leftovers, and so I try to do leftovers from dinner for lunch. That doesn't always happen, but I do try that. I really like this layout because you're eating something different just about every single day. This month was a little bit hectic because we were out of town for a while, and my husband was still on the carnivore diet, and so everything that I planned for, I had to make sure that there was like no sauce on the actual fish so he can still eat it. So it made it a little more challenging, and that's kind of why I was like really scribbled and it's not as clean as I'd like it to be. But otherwise, I really like this method, and it has helped us to stay organized and basically be able to plan 1 week at a time and just shop for those ingredients for the week and then move on to the next week, fill it in again, and then shop for the next ingredients and so forth. So I did this method for a while, but with everything going on, my husband being on a different diet, I wanted a new method. So for the month of October, I completely changed it up. I did breakfast, and then it's the same breakfast every single week, and then lunches were the same every single week, and then dinners were the same dinners every single week. I would like to continue with this method because it seems super simple to have like the same breakfast, so then the kids know what we eat every Monday, every Tuesday, and so forth. Obviously mine will change, and so I had to include like in orange what I would do differently, how to include vegetables and how to take out the carbs for keto. I will obviously have to tweak things as we go through it because we haven't done this while I've been on keto. So things will be changed accordingly, but for now, I still like to have a visual of what I need for the week, what ingredients I need, and it really helps a lot. So I'm gonna go ahead and already plan for Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays to be eggs. And the reason I chose those days is just because we do school Monday through Thursday, and so I wanted to make sure that they're easy recipes in the morning, and eggs are just super quick and I can make them in many different forms, versus if I choose to do like pancakes or something, or even waffles, I have to make sure that I have the ingredients, that I wake up in time to mix the batter, and that I cook them in time for everybody to wake up. The reason I write cereal for Saturday and Sunday is just because the kids can decide which day they want to do, and it really doesn't matter to me, and then they'll tell me what they want if they're not choosing cereal. So if one kid chooses cereal on Saturday, they can let me know like, oh, I'm gonna have some pumpkin muffins if we have some left over. And so we just kind of mix it up and let them just have that flexibility. I don't want to be rigid and decide for them like what they have to have on Saturday or that they have to have cereal Sunday, because we really are trying to be flexible. I'm gonna go ahead and include cream of wheat on Tuesdays. Honestly, I just love the childhood memory it brings me, and I love the strawberry jam that we make, no sugar added to it, so it's just perfect and it's super healthy, so I absolutely love it. And I also want to include pumpkin muffins since we're still in the season for pumpkins. My oldest daughter makes them and we absolutely love them. So that's how easy it is. That's going to be my breakfast. So I kind of skim over to see like what ingredients I will need. Obviously I will definitely need eggs for the week. Cereal, if you guys saw the pantry makeover that I did, we have plenty of cereal that'll last us forever, so I definitely don't need some. I just have to make sure that I have like our gluten-free flour, and then I also have to make sure that I either have the ingredients for her to make the pumpkin muffins or make sure that I have the strawberry jam made for cream of wheat. So I just kind of skim it, make my grocery list, make any notes on the side or add it straight to Instacart, and then I can move on to our lunch. I also like to keep our Saturdays and Sundays flexible for lunch and dinner because we don't know if we're going to have people over or what's going to happen. So I just kind of like leaving that a little bit more open with possibly leftovers from the week then. But I'm going to start off with our deli. I absolutely love, and so do the kids, deli with just fresh veggies. Sometimes the kids will do crackers, sometimes they'll do some bread. It just really depends, but I'm going to do that twice a week. I could always change it up and do something else, but for now I'm just going to write that twice. I also like to do roll-ups, and so that's also using deli, so that's just an idea, like if I want to switch it up, or if the kids are like, oh, deli again, then I might switch it up and do like roll-ups. My kids always remind me that why don't we do PB&J more often, and that's because I didn't grow up on it, and also I honestly just didn't have a good alternative for the regular PB&J. Now that we have a good peanut butter or almond butter that has no sugar, and now that we can actually make the jam at home without any additives or any sugar in it, now I'm okay with them having it, and I should probably write it down because otherwise I feel like it happens maybe once a month and they are so excited to have it. So I just have to remind myself to actually make the jam and make sure we have some on hand. And then obviously I usually have a jar of peanut butter, almond butter, the good kind, in our pantry. I also love making a tuna And that's because we can incorporate a lot of veggies on the side of it. And so sometimes the kids will have it on like toasted rye bread. Other times they'll have it with crackers and a bunch of veggies. But again, it's an easy way to include the veggies, and the kids don't complain about it because honestly, it just tastes really, really good. But it's basically some tuna, cream cheese, some onion, some salt. It's just really, really good. Pretty much on Fridays, I start to like just figure out what do we have leftovers. And so I'm going to plan for a leftover meal, and then I'll see how it goes with Saturday and Sunday. I will typically make something else on the weekend if needed, but usually the leftovers, if there are any, takes us through the weekend, and it works out just nicely. My kids do love sushi, so I do want to remember that that's an option. Obviously, I can't have it, so I'm going to have to tweak all this to include what I can have. I'm basically just planning on having different types of salad. As I mentioned in my keto week blog, I'm going to have different types of salad just the whole week, so that'll be my meals that I don't have to think about. Now, when it comes to dinners, the kids thought up of this, and I know I heard it before, but they try to match basically our meal with the same letter as that day. So Monday, they came up with the idea to do meatloaf. I obviously will have to tweak it for keto, probably do some like maybe gluten-free crumbs. I don't really know how it's going to work, or maybe make myself some, but I'll have to figure out a meatloaf that's keto friendly so that I could also have it. And then we're going to be serving that with a salad, probably a cucumber tomato salad, just again to make sure we get all the veggies we can get in. And like I mentioned, I do try to make myself notes on things that I have to do. So I know that I'm going to have to be making the barbecue sauce for it, making sure that I buy ground turkey, and making sure that I figure out a solution for the breadcrumbs. On Tuesday, we have jumped on, as others do, Taco Tuesday, and I just have to make sure we have the toppings for it. It makes it really easy because I could also just change this into a salad for myself. And if you haven't tried your tacos with radishes, it is really, really good and adds a nice new depth of crunch. They really struggled to think of something that comes up with a W, and so if you guys have any ideas, go ahead and share them down below. But they said world foods. This is basically my day to just try out either a new recipe or something from around the world. But it depends on what recipes I have, so I'm kind of going to leave it empty, look up at some of the recipes that are new, and write them in here. I also want to consider finding some slow cooker recipes maybe that are new to us, and that way I can just throw it in there and have it be ready at dinner time. My kids really love a garlic bowl that I made. So Thursdays, they called it That Garlic Bowl. It was funny. We were going for a walk and they came up with these, so I thought it was really cute. So that's what I'll be making, and I have to just make sure I have everything for it. So it includes like black beans. There's just a bunch of different toppings. And it's very, very light and delicious. I'll have to look up what else I need for that garlic bowl, as they like to call it. Now on Fridays, they want fish. And so again, I'm just going to make myself a few notes that I could either cook up salmon or tilapia, just to remind myself of some of the recipes I could do. Now again, I might choose one recipe and stick to it, or I might actually like switch it up. Maybe one Friday do salmon, another one do tilapia. And then I also want to make sure that I have some kind of roasted veggies that we could do with it. On Saturday, we have gone with Soup Saturday, and so that gives me a lot of flexibility because there's definitely some crock pot ones that I have, and so I can just decide which one depending on the ingredients that I have, or maybe even the leftover ingredients that I have for that week. But these are some of our favorites. It does give me a little bit of flexibility at dinner for some of the days. I really like this layout because I don't have to do a lot of like thinking through like, oh, what am I going to make for dinner? I really just have to look at the next day and be like, okay, I have to make sure that I'm defrosting the meat. These might be the only like this day and maybe the soup day. I have to make sure that like I actually decide on a soup and make sure that I actually decide on a world recipe. But I have to say that I'd rather think of 2 recipes a week versus coming up with like 6 to 7 different ones. And if we are home on the weekends, notice again, they plan for soup, and I completely forgot that they said they would totally be fine with our homemade spaghetti on Sundays. So I have to make sure that I get like the meat, depending on what meat I make the meatballs out of, and make sure I have enough zucchinis for our zoodles. And they still obviously want the pasta, so I won't be eating that, but it'll help because they'll be eating it. So I do want to show you what I do and where I get my foods from, but I basically made a list of all the breakfast things that I can make, and then lunch quick ideas that I made a note of. Now keep in mind, when you see some of these, they might sound unhealthy. We do try to do a super healthy version of everything. So like PB&J, it'll be really good, like wholesome bread, and the jelly is not really jelly, it's actually homemade jam with no sugar added. So a lot of these are like that. We typically just do fruits for snacks, but there's times when I'll have like cashew butter on hand and they'll want something special. So I'll do apples with cashew butter. Smoothies we do more during summer, but I still like to pull them out sometimes when we just need a little bit of change. This is actually one of my favorite snacks when I'm not doing keto. It's a banana with actually almond butter and then some honey drizzled over the top with slithered almonds for the crunch. It's really, really good. Also, I love serving strawberry banana salad with breakfast. Now, when it comes to dinners, again, I have a whole list of things. I separated my soups and then like my wholesome meals. There's still tons of recipes that I have on Pinterest. So sometimes I'll even write new recipe and then I'll just pull something off from there. So as you saw, the first one, it's nice because you can switch it up. The downfall of the first one is the fact that you actually have to plan every single week and breakfast, lunches, and dinners change. So obviously even your weekly grocery completely changes versus the other one where it's more like a month view and you do the same thing every single week. The nice thing about it is that it saves you a lot of time, and if you're in a really busy chapter of life, I would highly recommend that you try the month overview where you do the same thing every single week and you don't have to really think about it a lot. It could get a little boring. That's why I left a few recipe days where I can switch it up and change the recipe, but otherwise it's super simple and I just have to defrost the meat on those days. All right, ladies, don't forget to hit the like button and go ahead and comment below with what we should name our W. In case you guys have any cool recipes that start with W, I would love to hear from you. And thanks again for watching. Hope you guys have a wonderful day.